What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Screen Team episode number 2. I'm here with Alex and Sal, and today we're going to be talking about The Shining, which is directed by Stanley Kubrick, and we're going to be talking about Doctor Sleep, which is directed by Mike Flanagan. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start by talking about The Shining.
Like our likes and dislikes.
Yeah, likes and dislikes. Oh, also, obviously, this goes without saying, this is going to be a spoiler-filled discussion. So if you are planning on seeing the movie, haven't seen it yet, I would recommend coming back to this after you've seen both of them. If you don't really care, then stick around. So let's go ahead and get this started. So what do you guys think of The Shining?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I'm gonna start off by saying that I'm not that big of a Stanley Kubrick fan.
Okay.
I don't know. His movies are kind of slow for me. I tried watching Clockwork Orange.
But
It's a little slow. I've seen parts of Space Odyssey. It's just like really slow for me. The Shining though, I really like The Shining. I've seen it twice now. I definitely liked it better the second time than I saw it the first time. And the thing about The Shining is so deep. There's so many like sub themes in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of don't even understand it, especially when I saw it the first time. I didn't really understand what like the point of it, like what was going on. And I felt like I understood it more after watching Doctor Sleep for sure. So they definitely connect. It's Doctor Sleep is not a movie where you can just kind of watch on its own. Without watching The Shining, you should definitely watch The Shining before you watch Doctor Sleep. So,
well, before we go further, I do think you can watch Doctor Sleep without seeing it, but you will lose a lot of appreciation for certain elements in Doctor Sleep. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about Doctor Sleep. So like, as far as The Shining goes, you said there's a lot of it that like you didn't catch the first time.
Yeah, definitely.
That you caught the second time.
Yeah.
So what are some of those things that you
caught? Like the big thing, I remember being left so confused at the end of the movie when the last scene when they zoom into that picture and they have Jack. It's in that picture of like 1921, which is like years ago. It was so confusing to me. I'm like, I don't understand why he's there. They don't really elaborate on how did he time travel? Was he a ghost? Like I don't know what the heck was going on until I saw Doctor Sleep. And you kind of find out. I have a theory on what it is. They still kind of don't really explain.
Yeah, they leave it a little open.
They leave it a little open-handed. But what I figured. So in Doctor Sleep, they show these characters that kind of eat people's shine. And they can live longer. And I think and I think that's what he was doing. He was eating people's shine. That's why he was able to live so long. That's the only explanation I have. I don't know if you guys thought about that, but I don't know why he was there in that picture from like 50 years ago.
I don't personally think that's what it was, but
what was it?
We'll get back to that.
Okay,
so what was the meaning of that photo? I don't understand.
I think we're going too far. You're going to the ending already.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
continue talking about just like general stuff.
Yeah. So let's start with the beginning. So, overall, The Shining starts with Jack Torrance driving up to the mountaintop. I believe that's what it's called, hotel. He's getting a job there as a caretaker while the off season is going. So they're just making sure the hotel's maintained and everything.
Like during the winter.
And because the winters are so brutal there, they can't really have people go up there. So while he's up there, he takes his family. His son has his little friend called Tony, his imaginary friend. It's this little boy that lives inside of him. That's how he describes it. And he talks through his finger.
We'll talk more about that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how are you doing? Yeah, he does that little weird voice.
Yeah, me and Sal had a discussion about that. We kind of had a little debate about what the heck Tony is.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, and from there, they finally move into the hotel, and it's not really too long before you can start seeing the signs of, like, cabin fever and a little bit of a mental breakdown in Jack Torrance. He already seems to have some sort of like anger issues kind of before they even get there, but it's definitely heightened once they do get there. And as the movie goes on, there's like little elements that like point to like he was an abusive dad. He was the reason that Tony even came out of Danny.
He was an alcoholic.
He was an alcoholic. So, yeah. So there's a lot of darker themes in the movie, as you could imagine from something like this. So.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Sal, go ahead.
So yeah, obviously what you explained was correct, and that's how the movie goes. But for me, it was like it was about two different things.
Okay.
It was like two movies in one. And so first of all, I didn't like it as much as maybe Alex The Shining because it was really slow, and also maybe because it was kind of older. I don't know. It's hard for me to watch an older movie, but it's about two movies. It's two movies. It's about the dad. What's his name again?
Jack.
Jack. About Jack, essentially having cabin fever and going crazy, which we'll talk about if that's exactly what's going on, and also another part which isn't really like most of the movie. It's a small part of the movie, but it's still like, to me it's crazy how that's not the more important part, which is that the kid is like essentially has like the Force. With like, to me, The Shining, it really is just the Force.
Yeah.
And they talk about more in about that in Doctor Sleep, but
yeah.
Yeah, The Shining is about this kid who essentially has the Force. We'll call it the Force, but it's called The Shining.
Yeah.
And it's about the dad going mad in this house.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of other little things. So another reason why I didn't like this movie was because I felt like they didn't really explain a lot of things in The Shining, and then I loved but also hated that they explained those things in Doctor Sleep.
Yeah.
Because then it kind of makes me think like, okay, so where was this movie a long time ago? Like this movie should have been like, it should have come out like a year after or something, or should have just
followed it.
They should have followed it. Yeah. Pretty soon. Like the first one doesn't make sense without you were saying you can watch the second one without the first one. I feel like you can't even watch the first one without the second one. Like you need the second one so much more than you need the first one. And
100%.
Yeah, it was just, that's a reason why I don't understand why people like this so much if they're so confused. Like,
okay.
I think a lot of people read the book too.
Yeah.
None of us have ever read the book.
So they're two separate books. So The Shining and Doctor Sleep. So Doctor Sleep wasn't published until 2013. So he himself didn't even write the book until like 30 years maybe even more later.
To go this direction though?
I mean, I haven't read the book either, so I don't know how much more is in the book than there is in the movie. But I do know that Stephen King did not like the Stanley Kubrick film at all.
Oh,
like,
really?
He hated it. He absolutely hated it, and he was not happy with the way the film turned out, the direction that they went. So I know that there is some debate over the book versus the film, as there usually is. And I mean, obviously, like when you're turning a full novel into a 2.5 hour movie or whatever the runtime was, 2.5 hours. It's kind of hard to capture everything that you obviously.
The book's always going to explain more.
Yeah. So there's obviously going to be something like that, but I mean, it's not untypical for a movie to have an A plot and a B plot in general. So with The Shining, like you're saying, one plot is Jack Torrance's character like devolving into madness, and then also Danny's character kind of dealing with all the supernatural aspects of those madnesses that are in that hotel.
So like in the second one, they talk about how everyone shines a little bit, but some people don't notice it. And some people just have it more. And so I want, like, as when you hear that, you think like, oh, what other people are shining too, and it makes you think if you wonder if the dad shined a little bit. And like maybe
I have to imagine that there was some sort of aspect of that too, for sure, because he was so quickly like changed. I think because they weren't there for that long. I think before like finally.
So in the second one in Doctor Sleep, they explain how the house, the mansion
shines.
Is kind of not shines, but
they explain it in the first one. In The Shining, the house
has
the black guy that the little kid meets. Yeah, he tells them that places shine just like people. That some places shine just like people. So I thought that was it. I picked that up the second time I watched it, and I was like, oh, that explains the house. That explains why.
And Doctor Sleep, it definitely explained how it affects people who shine in a negative way though. Like it kind of it's bad for people who shine to go in there
because you attract like the bad things that are in there,
and the bad things feed off of shining.
So I wonder if the dad shined a little bit, and that's why he was affected like that.
Yeah. I do think that is the case, and I do think that there's some sort of kind of like possession that is also mirrored in Dr. Sleep at the end of that movie, but we'll get back to that when we get to that movie specifically. But I do think it's more evident after Dr. Sleep that he might have been somewhat possessed by something, the shining of that hotel. Because like, I mean, obviously at the end, like by the end of the movie, he's just full going crazy. He's trying to kill his wife and son, and he kills the chef. I mean, it never shows him trying to eat his shining, but I think that kind of also comes into play with the ghosts kind of after the chef is killed in the movie. That's when like a lot of the ghosts kind of like appear. So that's also kind of something to think about too, I think.
Also when he's having when he's imagining like a conversation at the bar.
Yeah.
Right? Like how much of that is again imagination and how much of that is him shining again? Like what if he has the ability to like the kid to talk to like dead people essentially, or
so that can be something else too. I think that might actually be something to consider, because the bar was kind of his safe place in a way, like his like happy place, the place that he could escape to in his mind. So they have kind of some symbolism in Dr. Sleep about safe places, like places that they feel like save them in a way, with Danny like having the maze as his safe place in his mind.
The girl has her room, right?
Yeah, the girl has a room. So the bar could have been his, and that could have been where Danny kind of went into his dad's safe place in Dr. Sleep. But something to think about too.
Let's go over.
We should talk about Dr. Sleep, because there's a lot of things that connect already.
Wait, let's go over some iconic scenes first. I want to talk about like some of your favorite scenes of The Shining, because I have a few.
Okay. Well, I haven't personally said my specific opinion.
Oh yeah.
If it's not completely obvious, I love this movie.
The Shining.
Yeah, I love both of them. The Dr. Sleep was everything I could have wanted and more. Like I was actually really surprised at how much like I liked it.
From 1 through 10, I think we should give it like a rating.
The Shining. Wait, we'll do that at the end.
The Shining.
Let's do that at the end.
We kind of
at the very end.
Liked it.
Yeah, at the very end. Let's give a rating for both. Yeah, I said we should do that.
I think we should do The Shining, our rating now, and then at the end of Dr. give our rating.
Okay, we're gonna cut this. We're gonna cut this part out. This part of the discussion. So you love
so I love The Shining. I don't know. There's something about like I typically don't like slow movies either, but I feel like the pace of it is pretty good overall. There's some scenes that drag a little bit. But like just like the opening shot and the music and everything, like just like. And I love that they've reused the music in Dr. Sleep. I know we can't keep talking about the connections like Sal said, but
there's so many.
there are a lot of but yeah, so like the score, I love it. Just like the acting by Jack Nicholson, like I mean, like he already seems like kind of a crazy guy in general. But just like when he goes full crazy, like
it's crazy.
It's yeah, and like you feel like he's actually probably might be like a serial killer kind of type of thing. Like he does not seem like a good person. But yeah, like I don't know. Like acting, even like the wife like is a little over the top in certain scenes, but like you can see that she has some sort of like signs of abuse, like where she's kind of scared to like confront him about certain things, and she'll take what he says and just like cowers away like, oh okay, yeah. And then Danny and his little voice for Tony, I don't know why, but I always thought it was like really like creepy, but like kind of cool that like they're able to do that too.
Okay, so can we talk about that?
Yeah.
So me and Alex were arguing about that. Like Is that
What is Tony, Gus? Who is Tony? What is Tony? Because me and Sal have different opinions on what that is.
Especially after watching Doctor Strange.
Yeah, after watching Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep.
So after watching Doctor Sleep, I think they kind of explained that each person that has a shining manifests it in different ways. They have different kind of powers or whatever, in a way.
Okay.
So I think Tony is like his power, kind of.
It's his shine.
Which is what?
What is that power? Well, it's his shine, yeah, but it allows him to know what's kind of gonna happen. He can kind of see like,
because every time Tony comes out, it's something happens right after that where he kind of predicts what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's his shine.
Yeah, he tells him like, oh yeah, this is about to happen. Yeah. He shows him visions of like things that are upcoming. So, but go ahead.
Okay, I don't believe that at all.
Okay.
For a few reasons. Okay, for one, Tony doesn't come out in Doctor Sleep, right?
Well, I don't think he comes out in Doctor Sleep because he kind of tried to hide his shine for so long.
But he still does other things where he still uses his shine in Doctor Sleep, right?
Towards the end of the movie, I think.
Even when he talks to the girl, he's using his shine.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think what it is.
Wait.
Okay, go.
He's using his shine throughout the whole movie. So to me, it's not part of his powers because he never uses it in Doctor Sleep, for one. So that convinced me one thing. And another thing is, the girl. So there's a girl character in Doctor Sleep which also shines, and she communicates with Ewan McGregor, which is
Danny.
Yeah. And so she's essentially in her room talking to herself too. She has moments like that too. She's talking to herself quotations, but she's talking to Danny.
Yeah.
So I think
it's somebody helping him.
It's somebody he's talking to that shines too. It could be far away, someone really far away, some because he's I think essentially pretty strong with the shine as a kid.
No,
that's what they're saying.
I think there's two reasons why that's not the case. One is because they don't elaborate on that and they don't really make that very clear. That they never mention Tony in Doctor Sleep. And the second thing is because he kind of says that because the Tony shining that he thought
if it was somebody older, he's probably like
no. He in Doctor Sleep he talks about how he thought the shining was his imaginary friend. And I think as a child he didn't know what it was, so he manifested as an imaginary friend, and that's why it took that form, and that's why when he's an adult he doesn't have an imaginary friend because he understands the shining, he knows what it is, and he can use it.
He said
so there's no reason to have an imaginary friend.
He said he thought it was an imaginary friend, and the girl said she thought she had imaginary friends too, and then she found out that Ewan McGregor was a real person.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that means that this Tony was probably a real person. Maybe he never met him.
Yeah.
Maybe he never met him, but there was a real person.
I think that's possible.
With.
Like, I don't think that's like out of the question, but I don't think there's like a definitive answer as to like who for sure he was. But
part 3 was.
But I do think at the end of the day, whether it be him like having the shine, like giving him the ability to see in the future, or somebody giving him insight into the future, I don't think it necessarily makes that big of a difference as to who or what it was. But I do think that that's just essentially what Tony was. Like, whether it was like a symbolic, like supernatural force, or if it was just an actual other person interacting with him. But I'm inclined to think that he wasn't another person just because of the whole finger thing and him talking out loud. Because like I feel like when they show in Doctor Sleep, when they're talking to the other people through their heads, that they don't mimic their voice.
Okay.
Like outside of the...
True, you're right. But there is a scene... That's good. But you're right. But there is a scene when Ewan McGregor goes into... the little girl's body.
Yeah.
And she's doing what he's talking as him.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think is happening too. When the little kid, he starts acting like super weird, I think Tony's inside of him, and maybe like he's controlling his finger or whatever.
Yeah.
He's controlling. You can't control people with a lot of shine.
Yeah.
So So yeah, so I think it is still possible, especially for the Dr. Sleep part.
I don't discredit.
Ewan McGregor goes inside of the little girl's body.
Yeah,
and controls her.
Let's agree to disagree.
All right. But other scenes from The Shining that you guys like?
Okay, so there's three main ones that I thought were really, really good. But they're like the three most iconic scenes, honestly. Or the two of them are really iconic. When Jack is going up the stairs following his wife, and she has a bat. That scene is so good.
Yeah.
Even the dialogue on that scene when she's saying like, "Oh, don't hurt me," and he's like, "Oh, don't, I'm not gonna hurt you. Like, I'm gonna bash your fucking brains in." It's like, oh my god, like that scene is really, really good. The first time I saw it, I gotta say, man, I didn't really appreciate it as much as the second time. I don't know why, but the second time I saw it,
I saw Dr. Sleep after.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Because The Shining I saw maybe a year or two ago for the first time. Then I saw Dr. Sleep. Then I rewatched The Shining, and it's a different movie after watching Dr. Sleep.
To me, that says more about Dr. Sleep.
Dude, you guys, I'm telling you, you guys should rewatch The Shining again after watching Dr. Sleep. You catch more things. I'm telling you, you catch so many more things. Like after watching it again, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes a lot more sense. That scene, and then the scene where he's breaking the door with the axe.
Yeah, that's just like the cinematography in that specific scene I really like, because I don't know if you noticed this, but like they track the axe's movement as they're doing the swing. So like the way that it's shot, it like kind of like the camera's like moving with the axe, and I don't know, like just like how it's shot exactly, like I love that scene so much. And then like you just feel like the actual terror and stuff like of it.
So I like those scenes. I don't know if they're my favorite scenes. I think
that's surprising.
My favorite scenes, one of them weirdly is when the kid is riding on his little.
Oh that's like, obviously one of
iconic. Like he just keeps going, just like
going
like,
through.
What are you gonna
it's
pop
getting
it?
boring, but I like it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this.
And then there's the suspense of like, oh, what is he gonna bump into this
like
time?
Yeah.
That's a
I
good
like
scene.
when Jack's bar scene.
Yeah.
Like his dialogue in that whole scene.
Yeah.
And with the bartender and with
the butler.
The butler.
The
waiter. When they're in the bathroom talking about our Mr. Grady.
Yeah.
The guy that was the last murderer in that hotel. Yeah. Forgot to mention that, obviously. I mean, it kind of said like right in the beginning, but the reason why there's some caution going into this hotel is because there was a murder not that long before. And he killed his wife and 2 daughters, and the 2 daughters do pop up throughout, kind of messing with Danny, like telling him they want to come play and stuff like that. So
yeah, I thought it was pretty. Yeah, that bathroom scene with the butler got me a little more confused, because he starts telling Jack that he's the caretaker, that he's always been the caretaker.
That's okay.
Just like what's.
So that's confusing.
I don't understand it.
That I don't understand, and I don't understand the ending still.
With the picture.
Okay.
So
yeah, just like quick other plot points that happen. So Jack kills the chef, Holman. I don't know what his first name was.
Dick.
Dick.
His name was Dick.
Yeah. So he kills him.
They start following his son.
He starts chasing his son out into the maze. The son
outwits him.
Outwits him, but Jack is also injured because he got.
When he fell down the stairs.
He fell down the stairs and messed up his ankle or something.
When his wife hit him over the head with the bat, he fell down the stairs. After that, he had a limp.
Yeah.
He limped the rest of the movie.
So yeah, he was chasing him. He outwits him, gets him lost in the maze while he's able to escape. He meets up with his mom, and then him and his mom drive off in the snow thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it as far as like the major plot points.
He dies.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jack Torrance dies. At least we assume so. I mean, and I mean they show him frozen, but I don't know. Like I feel like there's always some sort of vague thing when it's just like, oh yeah, he's dead now. Like they don't actually specifically show him die. But I mean, I guess that would have been kind of boring to see somebody freeze to death. At least kind of weird. And then the very closing shot of the film is a picture being on the hotel wall, and they slowly zoom in and show that Jack Torrance was in the picture, but the picture's from 1921, and this movie takes place in like the 70s, 80s, something like that.
1980.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much as far as that goes. So we were talking about this a little bit last night because me and Sal and Alex watched it, Dr. Sleep last night. Yeah. And so you were having some confusion about the maze and like whether it was actually there or if it was just Danny's like shine.
Yeah, so I think there is an actual maze. Mm-hmm. But so again, in Dr. Sleep, they go more into going each other's minds.
Yeah.
Right? And so they all have like their safe place or like a place in their mind where they go to. And so Danny's is the maze in Dr. Sleep. So to me, it makes me think, and even before I saw Dr. Sleep and I only saw The Shining, I felt like maybe this maze isn't a real maze. But it is a real maze, but
they weren't actually there when they were running through the maze.
Yeah, maybe they weren't actually there when the dad was chasing the kid. Maybe this kid shines so bright, I guess. I don't know. Shine like the force is strong with him. that he just puts him in his mind and he's chasing him in his mind, and that's how he just traps him in there somehow.
I think it's more that it became a safe place because after that moment. Yeah, I think it's more towards that.
Yeah, I think him being able to escape his dad, who was trying to kill him, gave him a sense of empowerment for that maze. So he uses the maze as a way to protect himself in Dr. Sleep, but we'll get more into that in a little bit. But yeah, so I do think that the maze wasn't like this, him using his shine to like trap Jack's character in there. I do think that like he just was clearly injured and he was clearly already like kind of exhausted and stuff by the time we see Danny escape from the maze, and then by the time like they escape completely, he's probably so lost that he just can't find his way out and he just freezes to death. But yeah,
I think we should rate the movie and start talking about that.
Yeah, let's talk.
Real quick with the picture, we didn't really talk too much about the picture.
What it is.
So I think the picture, it does go back to that line where he says that you've always been the caretaker of this hotel. I think it was more of like a symbolic thing, though. I don't think he actually was in that picture. I think like him dying to the hotel puts him in the picture. Like he's part of like that.
Like all the people in the ball, when he sees all those people, those are all people that maybe died there or were part of that hotel at one point.
Yeah, because there's that music that's always playing when he goes into the bar, and it's definitely like 1920s-esque music. And even when like the final bar scene when he's in there, it's populated by people that are dressed kind of like 1920s clothing and everything. So I think all those people probably died there at some point.
Well,
and
you think?
I think so, and they do haunt the hotel because there are like I'm not sure exactly how, and they don't really explain why they would have died there. But we do see Mr. Grady as the butler, and then him being in there. I didn't notice if he was in the picture, but I didn't also look for him. Yeah. I think that would be something to go back to and just double check to see if he's in the picture, because then that would kind of further my theory on it. But yeah, I think it's just more of a like, oh yeah, he became part of the hotel and the haunting of it.
That would make sense. That would kill my theory about him eating people's shine and living forever. But
yeah,
that makes sense.
I don't think that would be the case, but I mean, Yeah, I don't know. They don't really explicitly say how long him and his wife were together either. So I guess that's possible. Like if she's always saw him as the same person, then it could have been that they were never aging.
But I think because if he was that, he would know about his son.
Yeah, I think that's
He
also
would
a thing because he never really like.
That's true. He would eat his son.
Yeah, because the Shining, like at least the people in Doctor Sleep, they have a very keen sense of people that have the shine. So, I mean, even the chef and Danny, they kind of like know right away that they have the shine. Yeah. But all right, so let's go ahead and rate this movie. What do you guys think?
I'll go first.
I'll pass it to Sal first because it's gonna be the lowest rating.
Maybe I should go last because fine, I'll go first. I'm gonna say. Okay, so when I first saw it, like 6.
Wow.
6.5. But as a whole, because I see it like
after watching Doctor Sleep,
after watching Doctor Sleep, like it makes more sense, and like I feel like it's one whole story now. Like it feels more like one whole story, and now it's like it feels more like a 7.5.
Huh.
Okay.
The Shining. We're just talking about The Shining here.
So the first time, I'm gonna be careful on what my ratings are because I don't want to start off like super high. This is almost like a baseline rating, and I'm gonna judge all my other movies based on this. So I would say the first time I saw it was a 7, definitely a 7. The second time I saw it, and then even after watching Doctor Sleep, it's 7.5 for sure. Yeah.
That's not that high. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like dislike it that much the first time I saw it. I liked it the first time I saw it, but I didn't really like it that much. The second time was definitely a lot better.
For me personally, I'm probably gonna rate it around an 8. I never really had this like initial viewing of it not being good, and like I feel like there's a lot of things that I appreciate a little bit more each time I do watch it, especially like looking at like story structure and things of that nature. I do have a great appreciation for it. I do understand why people wouldn't like it though, because it does it is a slow film. It's a slow burn. But I know a lot of people also don't like older films in general. But like for me, like I think it holds up in spite of that because it doesn't rely on special effects really. It just relies a lot on practical stuff, and I mean even then it's not really like, oh yeah, there's like ghosts floating through the hallway or something. It's just like it's usually an actor, maybe a little bit of makeup, despite the old lady in the bath, but she's a recurring character. But yeah, I think it holds up really well. I don't think there's like really a lot that like just diminishes it. And I do think after seeing Doctor Sleep, it also kind of heightens my appreciation even more because it allows it to make Doctor Sleep arguably a better film.
Yeah, I think Doctor Sleep alone wouldn't be too good alone.
We are shifting into Doctor Sleep.
Yes, now. Let's go. Let's talk about Doctor Sleep now.
All right, so Doctor Sleep picks up right after. Well, not right after, but pretty soon after the closing scenes of The Shining. Danny is still a little boy, living with his mom. They've moved to Florida at this point. We do see a shift in locations a couple of times in the first like 20, 30 minutes of the film. So we get the sense that Danny's still being haunted by these things that were haunting the hotel. Now that the hotel has been condemned, they are finding him and trying to take his shine away from him. Dick, the chef, is still with him in spirit, essentially, offering him guidance on how to deal with these things. And Danny finds a way to lock these demons away, essentially.
In a box.
Yeah, in a box in his mind. Which is, in the maze, which is a good point to keep in mind because it does show a lot of importance later on in the film. So that's that. So that's the end of that sort of for him. But then we have a cast of new characters introduced. They are led by this fast-talking woman that knows just what to say to bring you in close to them, and she
so
has the shine.
Right. So essentially, there's this group of like people that shine.
Yeah.
That have like teamed up, and their main goal is to
catch and eat other people's shine.
Take people who kidnap people who shine. They're usually kids, and take away their shine. And that way they essentially live longer.
Yeah. And going off of that, they don't always eat the other people that shine if they find them useful to their group. We were kind of talking about this a little bit earlier, but each one kind of has their own purpose. They own their shine, has their own benefit. So they start off the film by capturing this little girl, and they eat her shine, and they also preserve it and eat it over time to maintain this long life, like Sal was talking about. And then after that, we do fast forward into the future. Danny is a recovering alcoholic, much like his dad was in The Shining. He is struggling with who he is as a person, and he still has these demons that are inside of him that he hasn't quite let go. He makes his way to New Hampshire. They kind of make it seem like he doesn't really know why he's going there, but I think he had a sense of somebody that had the shining in New Hampshire. Yes.
No, because the girl's
she's still far from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I think one of the, I mean, I could be misremembering this, but like, so they show him trying to take the money from the girl that he had just slept with or whatever, and leaving. And then Dick was like, no, you should leave that, like, be a good person, pretty much. And then he falls asleep under a bridge waiting for a bus, right? And he's woken up when the little girl's doing the magic trick with the spoons, and the spoons all fall. He wakes up right after that happens. That's the next scene. So I think he has a sense of someone with the shining is really powerful, like kind of close.
Yeah. So I would think everybody. I think any person who shines felt that. I think because he felt it. Also the crazy witch lady, the one that leads the group of people that shine, she also felt it.
So essentially this whole movie just revolves around Danny as an adult.
Yeah.
This group of people who are searching for people who shine.
More food, essentially.
For more food, to live longer. And the other person would be this little girl. I don't remember her name.
Abra as in abracadabra.
And
who's really, really powerful.
She shines really, really bright, like brighter than all the characters in this movie. And so this group of people, their mission is essentially to like find this girl and kill her and to live a lot longer. Eat her, because she's a lot of food, I guess, for them.
Yeah. And so Abra, the little girl, we first see her, it's like her 5th birthday or something like that. And then she clearly demonstrates that she has like a lot of shine in her at that point. Yes, the force. And then Danny meets up with this guy who's also a recovering alcoholic, and he brings him into an AA meeting. Shows like kind of like them having like a good standing, and then they flash forward about 8 years, I believe it was. And so Danny's still doing good. The girl and him are talking through Danny's blackboard wall in his room. He doesn't really know that it's a real person either. He kind of like thinks it might be like some sort of ghost or something.
No, I think he knows. I think he knows, because I think he's old enough.
Yeah, I think he does understand.
I think he knows he's talking to someone.
Yeah, just kind of flash forwards after that.
Yeah.
Like 8 years later, after he dropped his alcoholism, he's like clean for 8 years.
Yeah, and he's been working in a hospice. We forgot to mention this too. This is kind of important where the name Dr. Sleep comes from. He essentially is the guide for people to go into the afterlife at the hospice. Like he like makes them feel more comfortable with the idea.
Yeah.
And
which is why
helps them go to sleep.
Right,
Yeah.
which is why the title's called Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
But that's such a small like.
It's interesting because it's a
Let me
reoccurring theme. It's a reoccurring theme.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Yeah. So.
It's a small plot point.
Yeah, it's a small plot point, and why is that the title of the movie? Honestly, it would have made more sense if this second movie was called The Shining. Like if this second movie was called The Shining, like it makes sense. Like the first one, why was the first one even called The Shining? Like that's a small plot point. It should have been called like Cabin Fever or something. But
I mean, they could have just gone with Doc too.
The title
that would have been a little weird.
What is it?
Doc, because that was his nickname.
Oh, the second one.
Yeah.
I guess it was just referencing to like him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's about.
But I like that it was called Dr. Sleep, and I like that it was a recurring theme.
What was the recurring theme?
About death. Like that was a recurring theme about like, oh, what's gonna happen after you die, the afterlife. Mm-hmm. That they hit that a few times throughout the movie. Yeah. There's a lot of little like sub themes that were in the movie, just kind of like The Shining, where like little things were happening, but they weren't really like too important. They seemed important, but they weren't really that important. They didn't have to do much with like the main storyline. Yeah. That was one thing. So I thought that was interesting. I liked it. I like that they kind of just put that in there. They even talked when the little girl's dad dies, she has to tell the mom like, oh, like it's okay, like you go somewhere after you die, you know.
Yeah.
Like, that was a recurring theme. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And what else?
Let's just say how the movie ends and stuff. So.
Yeah, we're going to skip a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to go through
because there's a lot of things that happen.
We don't have to go through everything. Yeah.
But essentially, they make a plan. They make like a trap to, and they. Ewan McGregor, Danny, the girl, and his friend, they make a trap to kill, I guess, most of these shiners.
They end up getting the better of them.
Right.
They kill off most of the group.
Except for one.
Yeah.
Except for the main girl.
Which is the most powerful one.
Yeah, and then she decides to chase the girl and Danny. And she's very powerful too. And she decides to take more of the shine she has left over. So she becomes more powerful.
Yeah.
And so I guess Danny's plan is to go back to the original
hotel
mansion, hotel from the first one, and so then they explain it again in this movie that house
feeds
is special,
off.
And it feeds off of people who shine, which I don't think they really said that. I mean, they said it shines.
They said that places shine, but they didn't talk about
didn't talk about how like it's bad for people who shine.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So to me, that adds more things to the first one.
Yeah.
That it just makes more sense.
Yeah. So yeah, they lead her in there and they kind of trap her. They end up Danny ends up releasing all his demons that he's trapped over the years in those boxes. He releases them in the house and they attack the girl and they end up eating her. So
yeah,
that part's pretty cool. So yeah, happy ending.
Oh well, I mean, okay, yeah. So they killed the lady Rose. I think that's what her name was. And Danny stays behind to make sure that the hotel blows up.
Yeah, burns. Yeah.
I don't know that he necessarily needed to die, but I think he would have died regardless because he did get the axe into his like main artery in his leg.
Oh yeah.
They kind of make a point of that. Yeah, and
like bleeding out.
Yeah, he was kind of bleeding out already at that point. He looked really pale the last time him and Abra had talked, anyways. Mm-hmm. But they show that he is in the afterlife or whatever, still able to communicate with Abra, making sure that she's okay. And
so just to talk about like this whole movie, like in general.
Yeah.
Like, so I saw The Shining first, obviously, and then I remember going into this one. My brother was asking me like, oh, like how do you think? Like he's already seen it. Mm-hmm. He wasn't gonna answer what I was gonna
ask
my prediction, but he was like asking me like, oh, how do I think the direction was gonna go? And I said, because remember, for The Shining, I felt like there was 2 movies in that movie.
Yeah.
Right? The whole side with the dad having cabin fever, and the side where the kid has powers and he shines. And I told him, like, oh, I hope, I mean, I think, and no, I don't think, but I hope that it goes in a direction and it dives deeper into the whole Shining, yeah. That I hope it takes that path and it just dives deeper into that mythology and everything.
Delivered.
And it totally just it's a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It's almost not a scary movie. Like it has like scary elements to it.
I kind of felt like in a way that it was like almost like I was kind of getting like hints of like a superhero team up.
I felt like an X-Men movie.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of knew that they couldn't really do the same thing again.
Yeah.
But
they still
did towards the end when they do get back into the mansion or the hotel. And I really appreciate how many times they've recreated certain scenes and they almost like had the same acting too. Like when Danny is walking backwards up the stair mimicking his mom, like swinging the axe but not really swinging it, like she was kind of swinging the bat but not really swinging it, but then Rose like following him up there with the same hand gestures and everything, kind of saying similar things.
This movie has like so many like
and then like going into room 237 and
of course they're gonna go into that room.
It's just like I don't know, like so many of the scenes like they were such good callbacks, but like I didn't feel like they were like cheap either. Like I felt like they were well earned, and I feel like they didn't like overdo it either. Like also one of the scenes where so Danny ends up getting possessed kind of by the hotel shine, I guess, and he starts chasing after Abra with the axe, mimicking obviously Jack chasing Danny and the wife through the hotel. When he's chasing her, there's this point in The Shining where like Jack's character is just like yelling, but like he's not really even making like a noise, like I mean like a word, in The Shining. Like he's chasing him, he's like just like making these loud like grunting noises, right? And like they do the same thing in this movie, but like this time the grunts actually sound like him saying Abra. And it's kind of cool because like he was running in the same way, he had the limp,
and everything.
He kind of had like the same type of outfit, but like it was inverse. Like he was wearing a red shirt with a blue jacket as opposed to a red jacket and a blue shirt. The only thing that I would have really appreciated that I just feel like was like a bit of a missed opportunity was to have Jack Nicholson's character be de-aged as just him.
I didn't understand why they didn't do that.
Like I think so many movies do it at this point that it was just like, oh, like he's talking to him like this is perfect opportunity, like, and then they pan over to him and it's like that's not him. Like it barely looked like
but
him.
They replaced all the characters. Like they replaced Jack Nicholson, they replaced Dan when he's a little boy and the mom. They just decided to go that route. And that honestly that didn't bug me.
At least they did commit to it. Like to them all being different.
They just said we're just gonna get new actors. New actors.
I almost guess they should have de-aged.
I think Jack Nicholson's character would have been, especially because he wasn't really like moving around a lot and stuff like that. Like he was just the static thing. Like I think it would have been like perfect opportunity for him to be like de-aged. But I know probably Jack Nicholson doesn't want to be in movies and stuff like that anymore, so it doesn't really matter.
Speaking on issues, I had an issue with the fact that they possessed Dan at the end with the axe. Like I enjoyed it as it was happening. That was pretty cool, but I didn't understand why. Like they can possess people now. So is that what happened to Jack in the first one? Like I was kind of confused. So it made me think like, okay, so maybe they did possess him in the first one. Because they possess. Or just they just
can they possess anybody?
Well, I mean, they said everybody has some sort of shine, right? I mean, even if it's like a very minor thing, then
maybe some
maybe
people
that's
are easier.
why it was easier to do it because he had less shine. And but so I think that is the reason why though. Like he was
possessed.
Possessed.
So it makes me think that So was Jack possessed in the first one?
I think so. I've always kind of had like a bit of an inkling that was the case, because
that would make sense.
Because like even though like he did seem like kind of an asshole and like kind of like a dick to his family, I do think there were still signs of him caring about them.
Yeah.
Like when he wakes up from the dream, when he's at the typewriter, and he wakes up from the dream after Danny went into room 237, he's like, "Oh, I had this terrible dream. Like I chopped you guys up and blah blah blah." Like, and he was like practically crying and stuff like that. Like obviously, I don't think that was something he wanted to do. I think it just kind of like
and it was a lot of convincing from like from the ghost part. Like you see throughout the movie, like the butler. Like convincing them, telling them like this is what you have to do.
But I feel like him being possessed also takes away from some of The Shining, I guess, because then it becomes more simple. Like it's just like, oh, he just got possessed. Like
it's like a cop out type of thing.
It would have been more complex, more interesting, more psychological if it was like, oh, like other things going through his mind, like his alcoholism or all the things he was saying about not having space to do his work and like all these things that he was saying, but like maybe they were just reaching into his subconscious, and that maybe he actually just broke from cabin fever. Like I guess
it could be a combination.
Like, a real thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, cabin fever is like a real thing, but I mean it could be a combination of the two. It could just be that it was cabin fever. It could just be that he did get possessed, but like I don't think Dan getting possessed is a direct indication that Jack was, but I think it kind of leads to like at least like suggest that it might have been the case. But yeah.
So back to Dr. Sleep. I just want to say that I liked all the scenes where they kind of went into like the minds of other people.
Yeah.
So when the first time they kind of show that is when the main villain girl, Rose, when she goes into the mind of the little girl, she goes into her room.
That was such a great scene.
And she sees her, and like she doesn't have like a mouth, and it was it was weird. And then the little girl goes into her mind and starts like going to the filing cabinets. That scene was good. And then they also do it again with the whole maze when they're in the maze. Like every time they're in each other's minds. Those are good scenes. I really, really like those scenes. Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of really like cool shots in this. Like obviously, like we've kind of talked about them like recreating like literally like 1-for-1 shots in Dr. Sleep from The Shining. But like the scene where Rose does go like looking for Abra's mind, like where she like is like meditating and then she like comes out of her body and like she's like kind of like flying through the sky. Like I don't know, I thought it was a really like cool like looking shot.
One of my first scenes.
And then she like lands right in there. It was really cool. Like the way the camera moved and everything, and it was really well shot too. Like it was just good cinematography and everything throughout too. But yeah, it was brutal too.
Really violent. That was about
so we haven't talked about the reason that Abra like kind of starts to get hunted by these people, and it's because she witnessed them murdering a little boy, the baseball player number 19. I don't remember what his name was. I could probably look it up, but it's not that important. But yeah, like they do not like hold back on like
that was
like I don't know if I've seen like a movie like straight up killing a kid like that like for such a long time. Like it was just like
so
we're going there like and like
I didn't think they were gonna do that either.
Me and my girlfriend talked about that afterwards, and we were like, wow, that scene where they killed the little kid was really brutal. It was the same actor from The Good Boys. I don't know if you guys caught that.
I haven't seen The Good Boys yet.
Good Boys, yeah, but he was really good. Like he made me scared, man. That little kid, when he was crying, he was scared. Oh god, I was so scared for that little kid.
But and then going back to that scene where Rose is in Abra's mind, where she traps her hand in the file cabinet and she pulls it out and like the skin just rips off of it.
Yeah,
like,
that was brutal too.
So but I mean, there's just a lot of really good scenes. Like I didn't ever feel like the movie dragged for me. I felt like there was like a lot of good moment to moment things. Like each scene like kind of like individually held up, but they all like I felt played a pretty important part into the storytelling of the film. I didn't feel like there was like anything that could have just been cut and it would have been like, okay, well that wasn't necessary.
Yeah, I wanted the movie to keep going.
Yeah.
I remember watching it, I'm just like, let's keep this going, man. This is good. This is really good.
You know, I feel like the movie didn't really end. Or not that it didn't end. Like, there's definitely room to make a third one. Like, there's room to, like, go even further.
Yeah,
like,
so...
in the opposite direction. Like, go total, like, X-Men.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, if they do make another one, it's definitely going to be like, oh, yeah, this isn't really going to be that much of a horror movie anymore. It's like a superhero team-up movie. So because they do mention at the end, well, yeah, there's going to be bad people that shine, but there's also good people like you that shine, and you got to find those people, too.
They talk about other people
like,
shine.
So it's going to be, if they ever do make another one, it would probably be, like, practically a superhero
You know what it reminds me of? Sal just saw the M. Night Shyamalan trilogy that no.
I mean,
Split, Unbreakable, and then Mr. Glass. And after what you watched Mr. Glass, you were telling me about how every movie felt like a different movie, and it was just like that's kind of like how these two movies are. It's like different movies.
If this one comes out with the third one, and then just like full on, like different again, but like full on,
full on X-Men,
then that would be a way better version than the Split.
Well, like Split was probably
the Glass.
Yeah, Glass was low.
Split was my favorite one.
Yeah, I think Split was my favorite.
That was the best one out of the three.
And yeah, that movie did not.
Unbreakable was my favorite one.
Really?
But
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we've talked about it quite enough. Like, unless there's something specifically that you guys have forgot to talk about that you want to talk about. Yeah, I'm thinking we should rate it now. Yeah. And so for me, I think I do actually like this movie more than The Shining, which I didn't expect going in. Like, I honestly thought I wasn't gonna like it as much
because it's not old.
I don't think that's the reason why, but I think it's a really good like sequel. Like, it actually takes all the like questions and stuff that you have from the first movie, builds off of it, but it doesn't just like give you like these like easy answers. I mean, they might be a little bit convenient in the sense of the story, but I think the story as a whole, they all fit together into building this like really like tangible story that's easy to understand, but it's also like really compelling and you want to see what happens next each moment. I think the acting is really well, cinematography is really good. But yeah, I would probably, I don't want to give it too high of a rating because I did just see it. But I am inclined to say it's higher rated than The Shining. So I'm going to say somewhere between an 8.5 to a 9.
Damn. Okay.
Because yeah, I want to see it again. Like after we finished watching it, like I was like ready to watch it again, honestly. No. And I was like dead tired. Like I just enjoyed it like deeply, like, and yeah, I can't really complain about like anything about it really.
So 8.5 or 9? What was that?
I don't have
8.75.
Let's go with 8.75.
8.75 on the record.
I can't.
All right, so I'll go next. Yeah, I gave The Shining 7.5. This one I definitely liked more than The Shining. It was definitely an enjoyable movie throughout, but it wasn't like the type of movie that I would say that would even make my top 10 or anything like that, because there wasn't things that really made it stand out for me. It was just a really good movie throughout. Like everything was just really good throughout, but not any particular thing that stood out.
Yeah.
So I would give it a 8 out of 10. Yeah, for sure.
That's good.
All right, first story crazy, bro. Like I don't know. This to me, cause we were just talking about Midsommar. This is way better than Midsommar. I don't know how. Like you were just saying how you were just like talking about how good Midsommar is. I do not know how you think Midsommar is better than this movie. Like
I can watch Midsommar over and over again.
Maybe it was just me. But to me, I love this movie, especially because it was so different. Like it just catches you off guard. The fact that it's different, it makes you. I think a lot of times when you go watch a movie, and when you come out liking it, a lot of it has to do with expectation. Like a lot of time, like, oh, you don't know either you don't know what the movie's about, or you don't expect much from it.
Yeah.
Much from it. And when you come out with a movie that's really good and it's not what you expect but better when you expect, then that's when you really have a good time. And then that's happened to me a few times, like with Gone Girl. Like I didn't really know what it was about, and I didn't know like what was gonna happen. And just like you just go into it, and you just love it. So this movie, I saw The Shining, and I expected something like The Shining, and it was totally different. So that's why I loved it. And not only on top of like it being different, it was good different. So when you add those two elements together, I feel like you definitely get a good experience at the movies. So because of those things, I just had much. I mean, Midsommar shocked you too. Like it's not what you think it is, and then you watch and you like it. But this one just like it's just better, man. It's just better.
Did you watch?
What do you get in it?
Oh,
I think a 9. Honestly.
A 9, damn.
Yeah.
Okay, when I saw it the first time, I just want to say that I thought of my brother. I said I know my brother's gonna love this movie. I don't know why, but this feels like his type of movie for sure.
Did you see Midsommar after Alex bragged about it to you?
Exactly. Yeah. Expectation.
Yeah.
Expectation.
Whatever.
And honestly,
let's watch it again in 5 years. And
honestly,
watch both
it is like I saw like for Midsommar, like I don't know why, like I was getting like a lot of advertisements on Instagram for it, but I had no idea what the movie was. Like I didn't like really like know besides just who the director was. So I went in expecting something like Hereditary. It was similar to Hereditary, like in the same of like unsettlingness and stuff like that, but it wasn't like anywhere near the same film. But they are completely different films in my opinion.
Dr. Sleep
and Midsommar. So I think it's so easy to like compare movies and like what you would rate each individual movie as a standalone thing, like not considering outside factors and then comparing it to another film.
I hope you're not saying you can't compare them.
No. You definitely can compare them. What I'm saying is that you can like this movie more. God, I'm trying to like think of the right way to say.
But think another movie's better.
Yeah.
You can like this movie more, but
like one movie
same
more,
rating,
but think another one's better.
Yeah, kind of.
So which one do you like more? Which one do you think is better?
No.
Are you saying you think Doctor Strange is a better movie, but you like Midsommar more? Is that what you're saying?
Did you say Doctor Strange?
Doctor Sleep.
I've been wanting to say that too.
I said like 4 times already.
See, I mean, I'm not even ready to like say that yet either. I'm just saying, like, is that what you're thinking more or less? Like, do you think that Midsommar is probably a better movie, but you enjoyed Doctor Sleep more? Because I can see why someone can enjoy Doctor Sleep a lot more than Midsommar.
Yeah. That's a weird thing. That's such a weird thing to me, to try to answer. Like, is that possible to do? To say that you enjoy something, but think something else better? Like, no, if you enjoy something more, you think it's better. Yeah, like, that's like, how is that possible?
It's based on your opinion.
I think it.
I think whether it's enjoyable or not is different. So I think Doctor Sleep is a funner movie.
Sure.
It's more enjoyable. And Midsommar gives you like this unsettling, like it's almost not enjoyable. You cringe and it's like, but that's a better movie for me. Even though Doctor Sleep was more like funner and enjoyable.
I mean, Space Jam is more enjoyable too.
Sure.
But I
don't think it's a better movie.
I still think still think Midsommar is better.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I don't know what I would answer as far as which one I liked more, because I did just see this one, and I have a really I feel like deep connection to The Shining, because like I had seen The Shining multiple times before we watched it again together, and I love that movie. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like my favorite horror movie, but it's like up there, you know. And I think that Doctor Sleep was better than that, and the fact that I think Doctor Sleep is better than The Shining obviously puts it as one of my favorite horror movies, even though I don't really consider it a horror movie. I never really felt scared.
Yeah, wasn't really a horror movie. I mean, there was some scary elements to it, but it wasn't a horror movie.
I think that's what you would have to categorize it as, just because of like the way movies don't really have like a lot of genres as far as like that sort of stuff goes.
I keep saying Doctor Strange, and I feel like Marvel's likes to do this thing where like they try to make each movie like a different genre almost.
Yeah.
Like Captain America, Winter Soldier was like
A spy thriller
a spy
type of
thriller, right? And Ant-Man's almost like a full-on comedy.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
I feel like
heist
for
movie.
Doctor Strange, they could totally do something like this.
They're gonna
Well,
do-
that's what the next
coming
one's
out.
supposed
Right.
to.
But
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do that with the first Doctor Strange. So I thought I think I remember hearing them say that.
I
it
think
was
they
gonna have,
wanted
like, scary
to.
elements,
Yeah.
But so
Huh.
this is what I thought of. Like, oh, this should totally like this is like a superhero scary movie.
Yeah.
This is what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's disturbing images, stuff like that. So that's why I would consider it more horror than a drama. But I think it's like kind of a good mixture of the two. But yeah, so those are our ratings of them. Before we go ahead and close the show out, though, I just wanted to see if you guys are watching anything that you guys want to talk about, like really quick.
Oh no. We have to pick an old movie and a new movie that we're gonna watch for next week that we're gonna rate.
Do we have
True.
Do we have to pick it out right now?
Let's do it now. Yeah, why not? I already know the new movie that just came out.
What?
Ford versus Ferrari.
I was gonna say
we're definitely gonna watch that.
one. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just
So that's a
thinking.
new movie.
Okay, we can-
Or Knives Out too.
Knives Out is out next week or this week?
It's Thanksgiving, I think.
Oh,
Pretty
Oh,
sure.
okay, so we'll do that
for the
future
next
episode.
Yeah, future episode.
Yeah, but I do want to see Knives Out really bad.
Yeah.
But
How are we gonna watch an old movie to that?
Ford versus Ferrari doesn't have to be related. It could be another Christian Bale movie. It could be another Matt Damon movie. It could just be something
The
else.
Departed.
Have you guys seen?
We could watch The Departed.
Have
I don't know if I've watched The Departed all the way through. So we can
Departed.
we can
Or
we can
watch
talk about
Beautiful
that.
Mind again.
Departed. Have you guys seen The Mechanic?
The Mechanic.
With Christian Bale.
Is that the
Wait,
one where he gets really
Machinist?
skinny?
Where he gets the machinist is a mechanic.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
I think it's
actually.
machinist.
I don't know how it's pronounced.
Yeah, where he gets like super skinny. You know what? I heard it's not that great of a movie. He literally makes the movie.
Yeah, don't make me watch
good
that.
chance.
Yeah.
None of us have seen it, man. I guess we can go. We've all seen The Departed, though. Yeah, I don't think.
I mean, I
I
I
don't
guess.
think
think we
should
should
go
make
to
it where like one movie we've kind of seen, most of us seen, and one movie we have to go watch.
Like honestly, I don't think I've seen The Departed all the way through.
Two new movies.
I also
So-
think we should pick something that's accessible, and we shouldn't pick anything that's like that we have to rent.
Like
and
The
buy.
Departed.
So something that's on Netflix, or
like a
Hulu
Netflix.
or
All right,
Prime,
so let's
because
pull it up.
because
think
that way
we
other
should-
people can
I
watch it.
think we should come up
Invite you
with
guys.
this through text.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, we should have probably
we'll
held
just
off
put the
on
new
this.
movie.
So we're for sure gonna talk about Ford versus Ferrari.
Uh-huh.
The second movie, you'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. The second movie we'll talk about in the next episode. And we'll let you guys.
Yeah. Well, obviously. I mean, I hope we're gonna be talking about it.
We can put it like in the comment section.
We can put an update on the channel or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go ahead and close it out, then, so that's what you have to expect going forward. Is there anything else that you guys have been watching that you guys want to talk about? For me specifically, I don't know if you've been watching My Hero Academia.
Nah.
You need to catch up on that
Okay.
fucking show. Oh my god!
Did it just start up? It just started
It's
up.
on episode 4 now.
Of season.
Of season 4.
Four?
Yeah, you need to catch up on it.
Okay.
It's amazing.
I need to finish 3 because I haven't finished season 3.
What else
So.
have I just finished watching?
The Office. Have you seen The Office?
Oh,
Yeah, Office is my favorite show. of all
We're watching
time.
it right now.
But yeah, I mean, if there's nothing you guys really have anything you want to
Watchmen.
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 I haven't started it yet.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot you need to catch up.
Watchmen's a
Yeah.
good
The
one.
Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
need to watch The Boys
I
too.
need to finish that.
But yeah, we can talk about like certain things like that a
Mandalorian.
little bit more in depth,
Yeah.
maybe going forward. But for now, it's
Like-
just like
What about Mandalorian?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh
I
my
just got Disney
sh-
Plus last
Okay.
night,
Really?
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I didn't watch it, but yeah, I know. I was meaning to. I don't
It's-
know why I waited so long. But I watched the last like end game scene, like the fight scene,
Oh, yeah.
like in 4K. Oh, god.
God.
So
Uh-huh.
nice. It's so
All
nice.
right.
But
let's close
yeah,
it out.
so I just want to go ahead and say thank you to everybody that's supporting us. We have 11 subscribers now.
Oh, do we really?
That's
Oh,
pretty cool. And our
Can we
last
subscribe
video,
ourselves?
Huh?
Can we subscribe ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, do you have your own
Subscribe
YouTube channel or YouTube account? You can subscribe with the YouTube account. Make sure you guys
It's
like and
liking your own,
subscribe.
like, photo on
And-
Instagram,
ourselves?
Not
You
really.
can.
though. No?
Nah, I think it's a little bit different because it's a group effort, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, so anyone you guys want to shout out?
Not really. Just
Baby girl
thank you to
Leslie.
everyone who's subscribing. Baby girl Leslie,
Baby girl
co-producer.
Lily.
She's not here right now.
I
She's
know.
our co-producer, but
So
she's a little under the weather.
if anything's wrong, we're blaming her.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Watch, we didn't have audio this whole show.
Yeah, no, that would be really terrible. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty much everything. Natalia, I didn't forget, actually. I got you, girl. I'll tell you later. She's my friend, but yeah. Cool. But yeah, I think that's everything. This will be up on Sunday. I don't know why I'm saying this. This is not important. So we'll be back every Sunday. I don't know if that was made clearly obvious last episode. So you'll catch us every Sunday. Hopefully midday, but you know, schedules and stuff like that.
Feel free to let us know, like in the comments, anything you guys want us to do or anything that we can improve on. Anything you guys don't like or do like, let us know. Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. So we want to make this as good of an experience for you as listeners and viewers. I am working on getting this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so that way if you don't want to watch it, you can have it something to listen to. But yeah, so with that being said, love you guys, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Bye.